Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. Forbidden Door 2023 is in the books. The latest joint collaboration between AEW and New Japan was a wildly entertaining one. A bunch of great matches, maybe even a couple of matches of the year. It was another long show for AEW, but that's sort of
is the norm.
That's sort of the norm at this point. But man, oh man, a lot of really, really, really good matches. Some just phenomenal things. It's going to be interesting to see what the general response is. But what's your sort of nutshell of Forbidden Door, maybe framed against last year's, or just, you know, what's going on these days with AEW?
You know, the AEW's last pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, was kind of a turd.
Yeah.
You know, and we were pretty darn critical of it at the time. We did the review, watching it live. This was a good rebound. I thought there's only really one match that was kind of meh, and that was the match that preceded the main event, the six-man tag match, which saw JAS and Suzuki team up against Sting, Darby, and Naito. It was a little sloppy. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I thought every match, even going back to the 0 hour, the buy-in, the pre-show, really good stuff.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, there was at least two match of the year contenders, I'd say. I mean, you could talk probably for a good 20 minutes alone about Kenny versus Ospreay.
I think we probably will. That was, to me, completely and totally match of the night. I'll have to go back and rewatch that and their Wrestle Kingdom match.
Yeah.
They really went and tried to one up that match. I mean, at the very least, you give them an A++ for effort. But man, especially the last 2/3 of that match, you know, it started out very methodical, but by the end, the last 15 minutes of that match were nuts.
Yeah,
absolutely nuts. Just absolutely an amazing match. Again, I'll have to go back. Like, they really tried to echo the chaos of the first match. Yeah. And they echoed, they not just echoed the chaos, but they actually echoed several of the beats, including, of course, the big door spot from the Tokyo Dome show. And at first, like, okay, that's cool. They're sort of going there, but man, they went to a lot of other places, and my God, that match was absolutely phenomenal. It's instantly on, at the very least, like the top 3 matches of the year list for me so far. Because it was really that good. So at the very least, but I thought top to bottom, there's so much to talk about with this. And it's ironic given that the main complaint that I feel is unfounded. I know you and I have both talked about this, about no stories. Well, this is the thing. You don't need it. They tell the stories there in the matches if there hasn't been like a proper build. That? Yeah. So man, I thought that was I thought it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal bout and kind of just the right amount of interference in that match. There wasn't too much.
Yeah.
Callis made his presence known, but it wasn't like it was an overbooked mess, because even with the security that Callis brought out, they didn't get involved. They just stood there.
Yeah.
And he didn't like unveil them as new members of this family he's creating to take out the elite. None of that. It was just pretty much, there was the one spot with Callis with the screwdriver, and that was pretty much it for the most part.
Yeah.
Or at least major spots. And echoing a lot of the story beats we saw in the Wrestle Kingdom match. Just really strong stuff, you know, what you'd expect from Omega and Ospreay. And makes you wonder, is this going to lead to a rubber match at All In Wembley?
It has to. I mean, unless they wanted to go a different direction. If Bryan Danielson, who beat, kind of surprising, I don't know, it was like in our chat, it was like almost 50-50, but Bryan Danielson made Okada tap out. Yeah. And I could see them maybe wanting to go to a different well if they wanted to keep it, hey, our Kenny Omega has one, your Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, has one. Let's do Will Ospreay at Wembley, but maybe Danielson steps up, because who wouldn't want to see that match?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, come on, Ospreay at Wembley, you'd think that would have to happen.
You think so. Yeah. And you know, given the finish of the main event with Okada tapping out to Danielson, it makes you think, well, they got to revisit that as well.
Oh God, if they do that at Tokyo Dome,
massive.
Oh my God, that would be absolutely huge.
That would be massive.
That would be absolutely huge. I'd love to see it.
Another match of the night contender, the International Championship 4-way bout. Orange Cassidy's been put on in amazing work since he got that, even preceding the title win, but since he's gotten that title, they've done a really good job of telling the story of him defending the title a bunch, winning.
I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I figured going into it to be sort of like the dark horse, like best match of the night. I didn't realize just how far Kenny and Ospreay were going to outpace everybody.
Yeah, I know.
Because it really was a standout match. No, I thought it was good. I thought, one standout of that match especially was Daniel Garcia. You and I have been recognizing that he's been doing some really phenomenal work as of late. Yeah, the dancing, the sports entertainment stuff, which is the whole point of JAS.
Yeah.
And it's added so much to his personality, to his character. I give a shit about the guy. I really do.
Yep.
And focusing on that aspect of your pro wrestling, the entirety of your pro wrestling persona, because we know he's got it in the ring.
Yeah.
And to see him really make himself part of this match, as opposed to, yes, he was the guy that ate the pin, but he was also just a big part of the match in general, in total.
Yes, totally.
Let's talk about CM Punk.
All right.
Because I'll be honest, I thought that was one of the most entertaining matches of the night as well. Just to watch, and I don't want to go like glass half empty, because it's going to be a problem, or at least it's going to be something that they're going to have to like figure out how they're going to approach his character. Big boos after last night, kind of more of a split crowd tonight. Big boos for CM Punk. He worked that match heel.
Yeah.
Now he's in the middle. It seems like the guys that he's going to be facing and his general thing on TV is going to be good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I thought him playing heel against Kojima was absolutely entertaining. It really was.
Yeah.
But it does sort of present an interesting conundrum to see how they're going to figure it out. He's got any number of bad guys that can be lined up for him. Is he going to go with this kind of crowd reaction outside of Chicago? Is he going to go full heel? Is he going to adapt to every situation? How do you think they're going to play this?
It seems thus far as adapting to the situation, because once the match ended, what did he do? He helped Kojima up, shook his hand.
Yeah.
Sportsmanship after the match was over. During the match, he healed it up. But it seems like they're going to try to, for the most part, have it both ways and just have him adapt to the crowd. Now, he was wearing shorts, not tights, shorts that had the same color scheme as Bullet Club Gold.
Ooh.
Could be reading too much into it. Who knows? But noticeable detail. And if they do eventually do a heel turn with him, it would be interesting to see, well, is it going to involve him turning on FTR? Would it involve him potentially joining up with somebody else like Bullet Club Gold, so long as Jay White's still the leader? We don't know. But it seems like for now, for the foreseeable future, especially while he's kind of like the cornerstone of Collision. Imagine they're gonna kind of want to face CM Punk for a little bit until that show gets its feet under it.
It'll be interesting to see if they're able, if that presents any big conundrums. Like, I don't know what they have planned story wise. I'd love to see. I don't know. I think that he was really, really entertaining tonight. Watching him, be confronted with a crowd that really doesn't, that evidently just wants to boo the guy. And him, Punk has always been open about he really enjoys working heel. He likes that stuff. And so he looked like he was having more fun. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. I mean, if you want to have, if you want to get ballsy with it, then have him come into a Bullet Club Gold and have them jump Jay White out and turn Jay White face. I don't know. Something like that. Bang, bang, gang. Look,
that'd be something else.
Look, Jay White's already been jumped out of Bullet Club.
True.
You'd figure like Bullet Club headquarters would be like, we jumped this guy out. He can't be in Bullet Club Gold. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Put Punk in there.
Let's talk about a heel turn where there's no ambiguity to it. And that is Jungle Boy. He lost to Sanada as predicted. And then he turned on Hook after taking that L. Not surprised that the heel turn happened. I'm kind of surprised that it happened like right after the match. I thought they might milk that a little bit more, where they tease tension between quote unquote best friends, Jungle Boy and Hook. And eventually have it really blow up.
But
I guess they're fast forwarding they did fast forward to the heel turn after Jungle Boy attacked Hook. He picked up the FTW title and then threw it at Hook. I know Jungle Boy really wants a championship this year. But if he wins the FTW title, it's not a championship that's been sanctioned by the company he works for.
I don't think that matters. Taking something from, and I think it would be silly for them to do this and then not have him have the FTW title. Like, it seems like, I get that you're keeping it in the family and, in the household or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I feel like you can probably trust Jungle Boy with the title.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
He is supposed to be one of the building blocks of AEW.
He's a pillar.
I hate that term, so I didn't use it.
I know.
But yeah, he's a pillar, And so yeah, he needs something. Darby's already been TNT champion. Sammy's been TNT champion. MJF's got the world title. Yep. He's got to have something. Look, I don't think until the dude has a personality, I don't think you push him to that degree. But like you said, the title's not sanctioned,
No.
So
no.
I can think of a number of other people you probably push a bit more. But if they want to try and develop him as a character and a heel turn is the way to do it, then do it. You want to develop your people regardless of who it is.
Exactly. And he turned on Hook and it kind of mocked the crowd doing the wave along to his theme and a couple other things, but it wasn't a super vicious beatdown.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he threw Hook off the stage or something like that. So the crowd was like, oh, he's heel, but then I don't know if it quite got the level of the reaction that they maybe wanted.
What if he gaslights a Hook and next one he's like, hey man, what's going on? He's like, what, dude, come on, fuck you. You blasted me on the stage. Oh, come on, man. It's just wrestling. Like, that's just what we do. Right. I'm cool. Yeah. You're my best friend. Remember I said, that
we're
you're
friends,
my best
right?
friend. Best friends.
Best friends. Yeah. Sorry. Best friend.
And I was like, no, you're not my best friend. You did that. Come on. Yeah. I got you something. Come on. It's like a burger and he opens it up. It's like half eaten.
Yeah. There's an obvious bite taken out of it. Like, did you take a bite out of this? No, I haven't seen that burger before.
That wasn't like, no, it wasn't.
You just took a bite out of it, didn't you? No.
Mustard on the side of your mouth?
No, I think I like mustard. I'm a ketchup man.
I'm a ketchup guy. Oh, man. So, yeah, lots to talk about. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. I don't have the notes in front of me, so why don't you kick us off?
Oh, you don't? Well, before we get to that, while you get the notes up, let's talk about this. We got some business to take care of before we get to the breakdown of the show. We got a new Big Blue champion.
Yes.
It came down to the end. We had someone make a massive come from behind win here.
So, first, let's talk about the... and I'm not taking anything away from our winner. There was a bit of, I'm not going to call it controversy, but there was a situation. Adam Cole, earlier in the day, was revealed by Tony Khan on Twitter that he was not cleared to wrestle because of an illness. A lot of people had already put their picks in, and like all legitimate casinos, bookies, you can't change your pick after it's in. So we are going to try to figure out some sort of way going forward to address if this happens again.
Yeah.
But there were only 7 people. I think probably more because it doesn't make anyways. There are only apparently 7 people who got in after this news was announced. Mm-hmm. 2 of which happened to be you and I. Yeah. However, somehow you ended up outside that 7 anyway. And I ended up number 7, so that didn't even end up helping us too much.
That's because we both picked Okada to win. That's why.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But yeah. All that being said, that's just how gambling works sometimes.
Yes.
And there's no monetary value in any of this stuff.
No, this is all for fun.
We've got a Money in the Bank predictions challenge coming up where you get the Money in the Bank advantage. But for now, let's please celebrate.
Yes.
The new Big Blue predictions champion, the second Big Blue predictions champion, Brandon McClendon.
Going from a 100th place at the start of the main event all the way to first.
Yeah.
Because Brandon picked Bryan Danielson with a lot of confidence points.
Right.
And it actually ended in a tie. And the tie was broken due to the tiebreaker, the length of the match. And both Brandon and Too Cool, who finished second, were like, match was like 27 minutes and 40 seconds-ish. Brandon said 45. Too Cool picked like 10 minutes. So they were both pretty far off from the actual time.
Right.
But we were about 10 to 12 seconds away from having a tie even after that. Because if it had been 27-30. Would actually had a tie.
It was by 12. Brandon won by 12 seconds.
12 seconds.
By 12 seconds, which is absolutely nuts.
It's pretty crazy.
It was really crazy. The first up in the pre-show, in the kickoff, they had like 3 kickoff shows last night.
Yeah, 3 kickoff show matches.
Friday.
Yeah.
No, on Collision.
Yeah.
Chaos and El Desperado. Chaos was what was it? Was it Trent and
Rocky, and Chuck, right?
And Chuck. Was it Chuck?
Yeah, it was Chuck with El Desperado. Yeah.
All right, El Desperado versus the Mogul Embassy. Mogul Embassy here gets the win. Swerve and Cage. After a little bit, I don't know if they're going to play this up.
Yeah.
But Swerve and Cage had a little moment where some inadvertent shots that they were taking at each other.
Yeah, it was a couple times.
A couple of them. But they were able to overcome that. And Swerve and Cage hit Rocky with a cutter and F5 combo. Swerve follows with a top rope stomp to get the win.
A much needed win for Swerve and Mogul Embassy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, especially after last night. I mean, Swerve had a great showing against Tanahashi, but lost. Yeah, exactly. Lost. We also had Billy Starks versus Athena. I love Athena. I know you love Athena. Oh, she's awesome.
So these days on Ring of Honor, if Twitter is to be believed, I see all these great Twitter clips. She just wrecks people and makes fun of people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the best thing. This was kind of no different. There was a bit where, what was the bit with Billy Starks?
Where Billy was going for the swanton on the apron.
Yeah.
And Athena just gets out of the way, so Billy just back first on the hardest part of the ring.
Oh my gosh.
Off the top rope.
Yeah, that was rough.
Then after that, Athena hits her with a running knee against the barricade, falls in the ring with her finisher to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good match. Another win for Athena. She advances. This was an Owen tournament quarterfinal. Owen.
Who's the Owen? So Athena advances to take on
Willow.
That'll
be a good match.
That's right, because Willow beat Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who comes out of that. You think Willow comes out of that one? Who's on the other side? The other side, I think Sky Blue's coming out the other side.
Yeah, Sky Blue's probably coming off the other side. Then Athena might advance, yeah.
If it's Athena versus Sky Blue, didn't Sky Blue have like a Ring of Honor championship shot against Athena?
Sky Blue just had a title shot against Toni Storm recently.
Well, like a month or two ago.
I don't know.
Ago. I wonder if they're going to have a thing where Sky Blue beats Athena in the finals here.
Maybe.
I want Athena to win the whole thing. She needs to get cable television, by the way.
She does need to be on cable television on a weekly basis because she is awesome.
I agree with that, man.
Awesome.
You got that right. Anyways, before we continue on with the rest of the recap, Larson, we got ourselves a brand new sponsor.
We do. Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, iHerb. Now that I'm getting up there in years, Steve, I'm getting older. It's become obvious. I need to take better care of myself, which means making sure my body gets everything it needs to operate at peak performance. When I'm looking for the best value and wellness products, I go to iHerb.
I think most of us have our favorite grocery stores to shop at, right?
Yeah.
But now with iHerb, you can have your go-to stop for all things health and wellness. I'm talking vitamins, supplements, snacks, spices, and a whole lot more. For a limited time, new customers can get 22% off their entire order by going to iHerb.com and using promo code RAW.
Yeah, I went to iHerb looking to get myself some probiotics for my tummy. But I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to get, but iHerb made the process a breeze because you could search by category, by brand, customer ratings, price, even by diet if, say, like you're a vegan or have other dietary needs. I was able to navigate the numerous options effortlessly and decide to get these right here. So far,
there you go.
So good. Right, nice. These probiotics. So that 30 billion it says on there. Plus, shipping is free in the U.S. and orders over $20.
That's right, man. With over 24 million authentic reviews and 1.3 million 5-star ratings, iHerb has helped more than 11 million customers find the best products for them. It's time to get your health in check with iHerb. New customers get 22% off your first order when you use code RAW at iHerb.com.
That's 22% off your first order at iherb.com, promo code RAW. Choose iHerb because wellness matters.
After that, we had LP versus Stu Grayson. One thing that I kind of dig about Forbidden Door, given that we don't really cover New Japan all that much, is like chat will often catch us up on what's going on with the wrestler. I knew that LP had been jumped out of Bullet Club, but I didn't really know like what he was up to like since then. Well, now he's just like a baby face, but he still does the nipple twisting. I didn't notice a back rake in this one.
I didn't see that either. No, all sorts of flips and stuff leading to
right
nails on the back. No, and you know, obviously no loaded boot.
No loaded boot. Yeah, sad, but he did get the win after. Let's see here. So Stu was looking for a nightfall. LP fought out of that, hit a springboard DDT, and got the C4 for the win. So that was cool. Good for LP.
It was a fun match. Really fun match. There you go.
Does that thing there.
And then the last match of the 0 Hour Buy-In Kickoff program. We got United Empire today. Taking on LIJ member Shingo, Bushi, and Hiromu Takahashi. Shingo gets the win for LIJ. He's looking for Made in Japan on TJP. TJP escapes. They go back and forth a little bit. Shingo catches him with a Made in Japan to get the W for LIJ.
You got that right. That brought us to the main card. And, of course, as MJF had stipulated, he got first match on the card. And so Tanahashi. Oh, man. MJF making fun of Tanahashi at the beginning. I'm sorry. That shit made me laugh. It really did.
It was pretty funny. Eventually, though, it's the point where MJF is like, I'm not gonna do this match. So he starts walking up the ramp, and Tanahashi starts a coward chant, and of course this irritates MJF. He gets back in the ring. He goes up to Tanahashi. He says, "You think I'm a coward?" He offers his hand. Tanahashi shakes it, and MJF tries to kick him. Tanahashi catches it and hits him with a left hand. In typical Tanahashi fashion, he goes after MJF's knee, especially after MJF does the move and lands right on his knee. But then down towards the finish, Tanahashi catches MJF with the dragon screw, locks on a Texas cloverleaf. MJF reaches out for the ropes. Tanahashi pulls him back towards the middle of the ring. MJF, though, is able to break it, avoids a suplex, but Tanahashi hits a sling blade, goes up top for a high fly flow, but MJF gets his knees up. Both men are in pain because MJF is selling knee. MJF goes to the outside, grabs the title belt, rolls back in. Well, Bryce sees it, stops it, takes it away. Tanahashi rolls him up. For some reason, Bryce is like to timekeeper, here, take the belt. I'm going to hand this to you, rather than just putting it, like sliding on the apron or whatever. So he's distracted, and Tanahashi has MJF rolled up for at least 7 seconds. And then ref turns around, starts to make the pinfall. MJF kicks out. So MJF gets the Dynamite Diamond ring on, and during a ref distraction, hits Tanahashi with it, covers him to get the win.
Pretty paint by numbers MJF match. Well, the finish was.
Yeah.
He is an absolutely terrific wrestler at this point. It's just sort of like, all right, well, that's going to happen. But I didn't give a damn. I thought the meat of this match was hella good. So, whatever.
Yeah, it was a fun bout.
Said, who am I? Start doing the air guitar and his legs are. Oh man, that was funny. Anyways, so afterwards, MJF's asking where the competition is. Raise the belt up. That brings us to the Owen Hart quarterfinal. With I do a pretty good Bret Hitman Horse, don't I?
It's uncanny.
Kojima versus CM Punk, and of course CM Punk. We talked about this a little bit. Getting a lot of boos there. The ring gear was awesome. I know you made the point about it being Bang Bang Gang colors. Yeah. But regardless, whatever the issue, man, it looked awesome. It looked really cool.
That was cool. That was really cool.
But yeah, it was a lot because, CM Punk by necessity kind of was wrestling this as a bad guy. The whole first third of this match was him mocking Kojima, giving him the chops, the lariats, all that kind of shit. And really preening to the crowd. There was that one part where Kojima was doing the pec flexing, and then they lock up, and Kojima pushes him to the corner, lays in the forearms, and then Punk hits a kick and toss, and that's when Kojima starts flexing his pecs. Punk hits a kick and then tosses Kojima out. Punk starts flexing his own pecs. And it's not like Punk is like overwhelmingly muscular or anything.
Yeah.
So it's just hilarious to watch that. But he was just mocking the shit out of the guy. It was hilarious.
He really was. So down towards finish this one, Punk's looking for a GTS, but instead, and not only was he mocking Kojima, he was mocking Kojima's tag partner Tenzan. Started doing the double overhand chops to Kojima a bunch.
Yeah.
Eventually, Kojima hits a cutter, pulls down the elbow pad. He's calling for the lariat. Punk reverses that to a neck breaker to get a 2. He's looking for a GTS after that. Kojima though catches a knee, hits a rolling elbow, and then a brain buster. Gets a 2 count there, and then Kojima again signals for the lariat. Punk ducks it, hits a roundhouse kick, then a GTS to get the win. I have a sneeze on deck. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And so afterwards, Punk's doing not just push-ups, but he's doing push-ups, but kind of like circling around the ring while doing them.
Oh, yeah.
Like he'll push himself up and bounce a little bit and kind of doing circles in the ring, essentially. It was interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do that.
Let's go back to the heel face question. If you're the guy, if you're the booker, or at least head of the brain trust, and Tony Khan, he's got a million things going on. He's like, hey, you know what? I trust Larson tops most, right? I'll go with your recommendation, and Punk will go with your recommendation because he respects you. What would you do?
Going heel, Phil. You lean into it, and here's the thing: it's got to be the heel turn's got to be so shocking, though.
Yeah,
it's got to be set up in such a fashion. I don't know the specifics right now. I'd have to think.
Do you do it in Chicago?
Yeah, you do it in Chicago, but actually no, because they'd probably still cheer him.
That's the problem. They cheer anything.
Yeah, you don't want to do it in Chicago, but it's got to be. You got to set it up, and the betrayal is so shocking that you get people talking about it.
Yeah. That's good.
And he's got to be so overboard in being a heel.
Yeah.
That White Brownie here says, "Do it in Regina."
Do it in the Regina. Yeah, you got to. He's got to go full. How about this? He's been dropping the big boot leg drop lately.
Yeah, he has.
What if he goes full NWO Hollywood Hogan?
Oh, with the beard and the dyed mustache.
Season 2 of Heels is coming up. Season 2 of Heels is coming up, man.
It's true.
That's what you do, anyway.
We should be doing too. We should start doing John Cena moves.
Oh, I agree, because you're getting the Cena response. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So, anyways, like you said, at the very end, after the push-ups and silliness, he gets Kojima back to his feet, raises his arm in respect. So
yeah. So sportsmanship wins after all.
I get the feeling. Here's my gut feeling on this. I think he's going to be really good-natured about the crowds booing him. He's going to remain a good guy, and eventually the crowds are just going to, as long as there's no bullshit backstage, the crowds will simply appreciate the work that he's putting in and the fact that he's not like being a bitter weirdo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if he's having a lot of fun, what I saw tonight was super entertaining. It really was.
Yeah, it was fairly entertaining. Yeah.
And if you just do that, if you just lean into whatever the crowd has given you, but you tell your stories, I think they'll go along with it eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, I think the expectation is always going to kind of be there.
Yeah.
Or the hope. Sorry, not the expectation. The hope is, well, when are we going to get Phil and FTR against the Elite? When is that going to happen?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know if that story ever comes to pass and they make nice well enough that they can maybe do that, then maybe that's when you turn him heel. I don't know.
And I think everybody's got to shut up about it. I think he no more. Like, you had your promo coming back. Now focus on the stories that you're going to tell. Do not say word one about anybody in the back or any of that kind of crap.
Nope, don't need to do it. Then we had the International Championship match. Orange Cassidy defending against Zack Sabre Jr., Daniel Garcia, and Katsuyori Shibata. Really fun bout. There was this great spot where Sabre and Shibata especially just really wanted to get after each other. And so they're trading punches with each other, and Garcia comes in there and tries to get involved. Well, they start hitting him. Well, guess what he does in response? He starts dancing. Starts dancing. So they hit him, and he sells the punch, starts dancing again.
Yeah.
They hit him again, dancing again.
Yeah. Oh,
this was
so
really,
good.
In a lot of ways, a show-stealing performance from Daniel Garcia, even though he took the pin.
Yeah. No, it totally was. It absolutely was. Yeah.
He had a lot of great moments, and that one was probably tops of them all.
Yeah. So anyways, the finish was so Shibata locks in a rear naked choke on Zack Sabre Jr. He boots Garcia off the apron, misses the PK, and Zack hits an Okada roll and bridge for 2. Zack goes for another pin for 2 as Garcia breaks that one up. They trade a bunch of shots as Zack misses an uppercut and Garcia gets a backslide for 2, but then hits a pile driver. Shibata hits a PK, but then Shibata is pushed out by Orange Cassidy, and he hits a mousetrap on Garcia to get the win after the match. OC, who Zack Sabre Jr. was relentless, working Orange Cassidy's busted hand.
Yeah.
So he's in pain. The ref gives him the belt, but Zack Sabre Jr. steals it. He grabs his own belt and says, "We are done, Orange Bullocks." And then Shibata comes in. All 3 title holders are kind of in the ring, and Zack, has the last word, says, "Next time I got you." And then Orange Cassidy and Shibata respectfully in the ring extend their hands and handshake, and they pose together before leaving. But just a phenomenal match. Really good stuff.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was really, really good. After that, we had the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship bout. Jungle Boy Jack Perry challenging champion Sanada. Sanada had this awesome blue robe that had from mid-forearm down, including a hand, I think was what kind of buckled the robe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when he came out, that wasn't buckled. And so the hand, the molded kind of hand thing, was resting atop his title.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was just a really cool visual. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was like, this title's mine. I have a metallic hand atop it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Sonata's he's always ahead of the curve on fashion, man.
He really is. Going back to, the Cold Skull days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This was a fun bout. Good pace. When Sonata works a fast pace, he delivers.
He really does. He's really impressive. That dude is super athletic. He is smooth in the ring.
He really is. And Jungle Boy was giving his best. Hits an uppercut. They're trading some shots. Jungle Boy counters with the backslide, gets a 2 count there. He looks for a crucifix bomb, but Sonata catches it and then puts him up on his shoulders. Well, Jungle Boy counters with the skull end, the dragon sleeper. Sonata starts to fade, but gets his boot on the rope to break it up. Hits the TKO for a 2 count. He goes up top, misses a moonsault. Jungle Boy counters a skull end with a poison rana. That was a cool spot. And then eventually Sonata gets the skull end on him and starts swinging him around the ring.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
A bunch. So eventually that leads to Sonata hitting a Shining Wizard to get a 2 count.
Mm-hmm.
And then hitting a backbreaker falls with a moonsault to get the win.
Yep, that's correct.
And then afterward, that's when the story really picks up.
Yeah, because Hook is trying to be a best friend, I guess. He's like, I guess you said I'm your best friend, so I'm gonna be there for you, I guess.
Yeah.
So he helps Jungle Boy up the ramp, and it goes back to commentary. So we're like, oh, there's no thing here, no angle. And then it goes back to the ramp, and like, oh, here's the angle. And then they sort of they raise hands, and then we get the heel turn there from Jack Perry. Like you said, he does the little mocking thing, and then he gets out of there.
Yeah. Yep. Then we had the 10-man tag match, the Elite, Tomohiro Ishii and Eddie Kingston taking on Blackpool Combat Club, Shota Umino, and Konosuke Takeshita.
This match was
like a typical Elite match. We could list off moves, but it's just so much stuff in rapid fire succession.
It was so much fun, but god damn, it was a mess. An absolute clusterfuck, but it was a lot of fun, including an interesting story twist where Eddie Kingston, on the side of the Elite, torn in his loyalties for Jon Moxley, pushes Moxley out of the way and eats a couple of super kicks, I think it was, from the Young Bucks.
Yep.
Later on, Mox doesn't show Eddie Kingston the same courtesy. In fact, he hits him with, I don't know, some
cutter
move. A cutter. Yeah, that's right. The cutter. And eventually, I guess surprisingly maybe, for me anyways, the Elite pick up the win thanks to Ishii hitting the brainbuster, I think, on Yuta.
Yeah, Wheeler Yuta. So early in the match, it seemed like the only thing Eddie could bring himself to do to Mox was just chop him a bunch.
He just really wanted to get his hands on Claudio, which he did a couple times.
Which, that's the story. But he just kept on, he and Mox exchanged, I don't know, like 35 chops or something like that. Went back and forth. Maybe there was a couple forearms in there, but by and large, it was chops. But Eddie couldn't bring himself to do much beyond that to Mox. And like he mentioned, Mox, with no hesitation, dropped Eddie with that cutter.
Yeah.
later on the bout. Yeah, but I mean, like everybody had. I could watch Hangman and Takeshita wrestle all day.
Yeah.
They were so snug.
So snug, yeah.
So snug.
They were really beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, they were. And as you mentioned, the finish kind of came a little bit out of nowhere because everybody else was out of the ring, save for Ishii and Yuta. And then Ishii just hit, he does a couple clotheslines and then hits the brain buster to get the win.
Yeah, right.
I was curious to see if the Eddie Mox story thing would play out in the finish itself, and it kind of really didn't.
Mm-hmm,
but then afterwards, the Young Bucks were like giving Eddie crap about pushing Mox out of the way, and so there was some John back and forth there.
Yeah, I have no idea where that's going to go.
Yeah, I don't either.
There's a lot there to chew on. Eddie hates Claudio, loves Mox. Mox is like fucking whatever with you. And Blackpool Combat Club came out to the New Japan Mox.
Oh yeah,
theme,
Mox's New Japan theme. There was awesome. One moment where Eddie was against the ropes and the ref wasn't looking, and Mox could have cheap shotted him and didn't do it earlier in the match.
Yeah.
Instead, Claudio hit him with a boot or something like that. So I don't know how this is all going to play out, especially in relation to the ongoing Elite Blackpool Combat Club feud. I think Fightful Select said that Blood and Guts is scheduled for next month
in Boston. Yeah,
in Boston. So if it's going to be Elite versus the BCC and the Double Cage, I don't know how Eddie's going to play in all that. I don't know.
Right, yeah. He's definitely going to. You get the feeling that's got to be the last we see of the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club.
You think so?
And if we get another run of Mox versus Eddie Kingston, I'm down for that, man.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That would be good.
There could be potential for a really interesting story with Eddie, Mox, and Claudio all there. After that, we had the AEW Women's Championship on the line. New Japan Strong Champion Willow Nightingale versus AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm. Really, really good match. Outcasts try to make an impact here with a lot of distractions, but they were taken out. They were kicked out of the match by the ref. And then we just got straight up Toni versus Willow. I thought this was a really, really good match. This is really awesome stuff here.
It really was. So Willow locks on a death lock, working Toni's legs. Storm eventually breaks it, goes for a hip attack, but Willow instead counters with a massive pounce. And so she knocks Toni out of the ring, puts her back in. Willow hits a splash, some lariats in the corner. And then Toni pulls. So Willow's charging Toni. Toni's in the corner. She pulls the ref in her way. And so the ref gets out of the way. And while he's trying to get out of that situation, Toni gouges Willow in the eyes and then hits Storm Zero to get the win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Patrick Levy has a good point. Eddie's going to Japan for the G1.
That's right.
Yeah, he's going to be gone for like a month.
Yep, in about 2 weeks, I guess. And so after Toni successfully defends the title, they show Sky Blue watching on one monitor, and they cut to Britt Baker watching on another.
Yep. And then we had Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. And they had a really cool intro package of Will Ospreay looking at just like a whole wall of TVs. I don't know. It was really cool. It was really fancy done. It sort of felt like a New Japan type production,
Yeah.
Because they always have really cool video packages like that. And the first, 25% of this match or so was and this was sort of my only, I feel like, I don't know what Wikipedia is saying the length of this match was. I can check really quick, but it was a long match. It was a long match. And I feel like the getting to know you phase might not have necessarily been necessary.
Yeah.
Because imagine if you just basically start this match with these guys just going at it. And I understand the philosophy of building.
If there's a third match in the books or in the works, maybe that's how they'll start the third match.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just saying, like, you start
39 minutes, 45 seconds, about 40 minutes.
Yeah, they could have shaved 10 off, is my point. Because there was 10 minutes at the beginning of getting to know him. Like, we know you guys know each other.
Yeah.
Let's just get to it. Even at that point, you're still at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, because after the first 10 minutes or so, oh my God, it just really took off. Like,
it really did.
Ospreay clearly wanting to get something back for the door stuff at Tokyo Dome. So he uses the top of the announce table, like the little, the overlay thing. that has Forbidden Door on it. And he aims Kenny's head for the word door, which was awesome. And oh my God, I've never seen somebody smash another guy's head outside of like a movie, like John Wick or something. The way he was smashing Kenny's head into that. Kenny gets busted open, but that's nothing compared to Ospreay a little bit later on, who gets busted open fierce.
Yeah, Kenny rams his head to the ring steps, and he's just pouring blood out. There's this one spot where Kenny... So after that happens, like Kenny tries some MMA style stuff and locks a triangle on.
Yeah.
And Ospreay powers him up for a powerbomb, but while he's in that triangle, you just see drips of blood just falling on Kenny's chest. And after Kenny kicks out of the powerbomb and gets up, his chest is just covered in Ospreay's blood. It was so much.
No, it was a lot.
It was an absolute ton.
Yeah.
So let's go to Callis trying to interfere
with his security team.
Well, so earlier in the match, he gets tossed from ringside when he tries to interfere early on.
Yeah.
With his two security, military security guard, whatever, just stay there. Aren't involved in the match. Don't do anything. So towards the end, Callis just comes back out. The ref doesn't really seem to care. And so Kenny's setting up for a V trigger against the ropes. Well, then Don gets on the apron and holds on to Will, and he doesn't think Kenny's going to do it. Kenny hits the V trigger anyways.
Yeah.
So Callis then tries to pull Ospreay out of the ring, and the ref is getting in between them to separate them. And during all of that confusion, Callis digs into his pocket and hands Ospreay a screwdriver. So Kenny gets Ospreay up for a one-winged angel. Ospreay jabs him with the screwdriver in the face, hits a hidden blade, a Stormbreaker. You think that's it. Kenny barely gets his toe on the bottom rope.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Yeah, and you think, I mean, dude, we were all sitting there like, oh, that's done. And then, he gets that, and it's like, holy shit.
Was not expecting that at all. So Ospreay's beside himself. Callis starts, like, giving him instructions. Ospreay goes for a V-trigger and just annihilates Kenny with it. Picks him up, hits a one-winged angel. Kenny kicks out immediately. Like we saw him do when the Young Bucks hit him with a BTE trigger during that tag match.
We all flipped out on that. By the way, shout out to everybody who joined us for the live stream today. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. So then they're trading shots. Kenny hits a knee, a brain buster. He looks for a one-winged angel. Ospreay starts to fight, so Kenny hits a German suplex instead. He hits a V trigger, lifts him up for a one-winged angel. Ospreay gets out of that, looks for a Stormbreaker. And then this spot sucked. He hits Kenny with a Tiger Driver 91, which is pretty much just dropping him on his head.
Yeah.
Kenny kicks out. So Ospreay hits another hidden blade, hits another Stormbreaker, and then gets the win. But that Tiger Driver 91 spot was nasty.
I did not expect to see Kenny just straight get dropped on his head. He tucked his chin. It was sort of on the side, but there was a lot of head there.
There was a lot of head. There's a lot of potential compression on the neck going on there.
Yeah, dude. It was this match. It was as if Kenny's like, okay, I've got like 3 matches left in my career. Might as well go out huge, you know?
Yeah.
Man, this was nuts.
It was.
It was
crazy.
Absolutely recommend checking this match out. I think it's definitely going to be there on Match of the Year candidates. I got to sort of watch this one. Got to watch that Wrestle Kingdom one, man. It was so shocking with just how violent it got with that.
Yeah, I know. And how Kenny was just destroying Ospreay for a good portion of the match. And there, that was all referenced, or a lot of it was referenced in this particular bout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
After that, we had a 6-man tag match. The Suzuki Gods, Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara versus the dudes with attitude, Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito. And I mean, this is a good match to have after that one because it was kind of a mess, but kind of like, you sort of expected a little bit. There was a couple scary points with Sting. Yeah, because you just think this dude's 62 years old. Suzuki's 55. Jericho's like 55 or whatever.
Yeah, it's in his 50s too. Yeah.
But it was fun enough. There was a little story beat where, what was it? Jericho. Sammy looked like he didn't want to be there in the first place, even though he did participate in one of the poses.
He did the pose, yeah.
At a certain point, Jericho, like Sting is laid out on a table on the floor. Jericho starts barking orders at Sammy saying, get up there and give him a 450 or give him a whatever. Give him a splash. And Sammy's like, I don't really want to do that, Chris. And he's like, get up there and do it. So Sammy does, but Sting Gets out of the way mainly. Like, it looked like he was supposed to get out of the way, but he sort of was late. And so that sort of took Sammy out of the match. In the end, though, Suzuki, so let's see here. Jericho grabs Sting, lays him. Oh, so we got that. The 630 through the table. Naito rolls up Jericho for a 2. They throw some shots at each other. Jericho hits a cross chop. Naito blocks a lion salt with his knees. He misses a Destino as Jericho counters with the walls. Sting is back in the ring because he wasn't supposed to go through the table. Locks in the deathlock on Jericho. Suzuki slips behind and grabs Sting. Naito takes him out, and Jericho hits a code breaker on Naito for a 2. Jericho boots Naito and then hits a leg drop. Suzuki tags in. He takes it to Naito, hits a boot in the corner and running kick. Naito avoids the choke, but Suzuki locks it in, and then Sting breaks it up, and he and Naito do a double team move on Suzuki, and then Naito stacks him up to get the win. So Naito got the pin on Suzuki here.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, one thing we forgot to mention during the CM Punk Kojima match is that CM Punk hit a bunch of lariats on Kojima in the corner.
Yeah.
I just saw this I was looking to see if I can get some updates from the scrum. Punk did a bunch of lariats in the corner and then referenced this shoot interview he did with Samoa Joe probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
He yelled out lariat after every lariat. So
yeah. Do we know who's been at the scrum so far?
Jericho, Sting, and Darby, and I think Ospreay either is still on or just wrapped up.
All right, cool. Right on.
And that brings us to our main event: Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada. All right, Patty Swan says Ospreay is still going. Bryan Danielson. So earlier in the week or last week, there was some news about some of the publishing issues with Final Countdown being solved or worked out.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't you know it, Bryan Danielson gets Final Countdown back for his theme for this show.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was great. Crowd loved it. And this match was awesome. I mean, come on, it's Okada and Danielson. I am really looking forward to seeing if they do a second one. It seems like Danielson might have legitimately. There was one weird moment. Danielson went down with what looked like a shoulder injury, and I don't know if that was the same time they did this spot. I think it was, but they were playing it as if Danielson had some sort of concussive issue because he was convulsing.
Yeah.
And so the ref stops, and I wonder if they were giving Danielson time to sort of figure out what's going on with his shoulder, because it seemed like for the rest of the match, his shoulder might have been fucked.
Yeah, because he was holding his arm real close to his body. Yeah,
he was holding it really close. He was awkwardly trying to do the submission stuff.
Yeah.
Every time like Okada would grab his, the ripcord with the arm, it looked like he was wincing a bit, and he was trying to hold it close.
Yeah.
When the doctor and the ref sort of stopped the match to check on Danielson, Danielson was convulsing, and Okada comes over to them and says, hey, back up, guys. Here, back up. I got this. And then he picks up Danielson and tries to give him a Rainmaker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would the doctor let him give him a Rainmaker if he's actually injured?
I know.
I don't know. I think that was a little bit of a confusing communication snafu, perhaps.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I thought this was a cool match, dude.
It was. It had a different feel and a different pace than Omega and Ospreay, which was just, especially the last half of it, was just absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And that's not what this match was. This was a simple story told really well.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But when you have like a massive fireworks extravaganza like Ospreay and Omega,
yeah, right.
And then you get like a really well choreographed but smaller scale fireworks display.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah.
Like if the other one is a couple of rockets shoot off here and there, and then like 20 minutes of finale.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then here you get a really well paced one that just doesn't have the bombast of
right.
a previous match. I mean, there's people sitting ringside who are on their phone or yawning and stuff, but
yeah, there's like all the front row, they're standing there, they're leaning up against a barricade doing the foot shuffling thing. I mean, look, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? So, like, my speculation is the last show they had one match in the kickoff. This one they had 4.
Yeah,
and I don't know why exactly, but like sometimes because the main card of every AEW pay-per-view is the same. It's 4 hours. It's usually like 3 hours and 54 minutes or 3 hours and 58 minutes. Yeah. It doesn't go over that.
No.
When you add an entire extra hour of wrestling in the kickoff, it makes it feel exponentially longer.
Yeah, it really does.
And so, like, the last AEW pay, what was the last one? Was the last one Double or Nothing?
Double or Nothing, yeah.
Last one Double or Nothing, which, like, we didn't love, but it didn't feel like the longest pay-per-view in history. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of those
because
other
of how
ones.
not because it was 4 hours long. There's other reasons the show felt long, but yeah.
Well, there are other reasons the show felt underwhelming.
Yeah.
But I remember that one, I was like, oh, I don't really feel that gassed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This one I did. And I think largely that extra hour in the kickoff of matches that kind of don't matter is going to be the thing. Now, I'm never going to complain about anybody, like, you know, making room on the show.
Yeah.
But also when you had that 40-minute Ospreay Kenny Omega match, which probably should have been 30, I think that adds to the pacing issue as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Totally. So after the bit where Brian lures Okada in by faking convulsions, Okada looks for a Rainmaker. Instead, Brian hits the knee plus. Okada, maintains wrist control through that, hits some shots. It all eventually leads to Brian, who's trying to lock on a label lock, but his arm is not cooperating with what he's trying to do. He's trying to be real gentle with it, but he can't lock the fingers. So Okada struggles to get the ropes. He starts to fade. He tries to muscle his way the ropes, but then Brian starts trapping his arm with his legs.
Yeah.
So and then Brian starts hitting some shots before going back to submission, and then Okada, he has both his hands trapped behind him, and so he's tapping out on Brian's leg, I think. And so I guess the crowd didn't really see it. So the ref rings for the bell. Bryan Danielson is your winner, and I guess now officially the best wrestler in the world.
It certainly seems that way. You gotta wonder if Okada's gonna have a chip on his shoulder after that one, and then try to get it back maybe at Tokyo Dome, or maybe even before then. I don't know. The Dominion's already passed. The G1's coming up. I'm assuming Okada's in the G1, right?
Yeah, Okada's in the G1.
All right.
So yeah, he could have that chip on his shoulder and call Brian out for Wrestle Kingdom. Hopefully, if Bryan Danielson suffered some sort of shoulder or arm injury, it's nothing severe.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And won't keep him out of action for a while. So
be kind of interesting if Okada carries this with him in New Japan, this loss, and maybe he goes on like a losing streak in throughout the G1. Maybe he's like a turd G1.
He's had a lot of arrogance this year.
Yeah, he's
Okada
been kind of a bastard. Yeah,
he has been a bit of an asshole. Maybe this he carries it with them, and he humbles them a little bit.
Maybe, yeah.
And it wears on him that like he wanted to be crowned the best wrestler in the world, and he not only did he lose, he tapped for the only second time in his career.
Yeah.
And he needs to get that back. Maybe that'll happen at Wrestle Kingdom.
That could be. Before we answer some questions here to wrap up the show, Jake Russell here with the super chat says Naito was disappointing. I thought he was wrestling in a shirt. I'm not going to complain about Naito.
Yeah, he's trying to be comfortable.
And then Neo Brown here, YouTube channel member, upgraded his membership to a Friendo Care package.
Oh, thank you so much.
So if you upgrade your Friendo Care, your membership, my brain is mush right now.
Yeah.
If you upgrade that thing, you get the Friendo Care package, which includes a comic book, some stickers. I got to send out a bunch of those for memberships over the past couple of weeks, but they'll be coming. Anyways.
There we go. All right, you want to answer a few questions?
Just a few questions.
Just a few. Noah has one here. How long do we think Sting keeps going until he retires? I think he indicated that he want to wrap it up this year.
I believe so, yeah. And the way he's been wrestling, it's probably a smart move.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, dude, that's a lot on his body.
Mondo here says, my wife has never watched New Japan, but is a big AEW fan. After seeing both Forbidden Door events, she thinks Okada has a great look, but otherwise doesn't get the hype. Even as a massive Okada fan, I have to admit neither of his Forbidden Door matches have even come close to what he's capable of. Are these events not doing him justice, or is he maybe not bringing his A game?
I don't know if this necessarily, and I know it wasn't the entirety of the match, but I don't know how much Danielson's arm. What did Kevin Kelly say? He said Danielson's arm is a passenger at this time.
Yeah.
That might have played into the final sequence or the final 10 minutes of the match, maybe.
Yeah.
There's no way to tell how that would have gone had Danielson not injured his shoulder, because it did seem like it was a legit
Yeah, it seemed
thing.
like he was hurt, yeah.
But I don't know. I sort of get the point. you and I have seen so many like classic Okada matches that his reputation precedes himself. I haven't really noticed it, but that's a good point. Like if this is your only exposure to Okada, I could totally understand. Oh yeah, I don't really see it. But that's not to say, man, his best matches are literally some of the best.
Yeah, best ever.
Pro wrestling, yeah.
Yeah. You got a performer like Okada. The bar is high.
Oh, yeah.
And if the expectation is a classic every time out, and he goes out and puts forth a really good match, maybe not a great one, but a really good one, you're like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe the expectations of Okada, the legend, the reputation of Okada plays a role in that too. I don't know.
Diehard Homer here in our chat says, at least you saw the main event. I saw the entrances and the finish. AMC can eat shit.
Oh, wow.
That's the second one. Every single time we get people
who go to the theater and there's at least somebody has an issue.
Yeah.
Somebody has an issue.
Yeah. Emerald City Pictures here says, what do you think the chances are we ever get a Forbidden Door event that is hosted in Japan? It doesn't seem likely at this point because they haven't done it, but I would love 2 Forbidden Doors a year, one in Japan with their production and one in here in the States like they usually do.
Yep.
I think,
I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
John Hosey says, simple question, where does Forbidden Door 2023 rank in your favorite AEW pay-per-views? I'll be honest, I don't know because my memory is shit and I don't really rank things like, I don't have like a constant tally rank. I think All Out 2021 is probably still tops for how monumental it was.
Yeah. I felt like that could have been a game changer for wrestling. It turned out it really wasn't, but it felt like that at the time,
Well, a case could be made. I mean, case could be made. It was a proving ground for, look, we can get talent.
Yeah.
Let's see.
A lot of questions about Ospreay and Omega that we kind of...
Oh, speaking of which, Bucket Dipper here says, what are 3 AEW New Japan matches you want to see hosted in Tokyo Dome with New Japan production? Yano, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
I want to see that match.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Okada Danielson with New Japan production, I think would be good.
Would be really good, yeah. Yeah.
Naito CM Punk.
That'd be good, too.
I'd like to see all that stuff.
You did it.
I did it.
You did it.
Jake Russell here with the Super Chat says, is it time for TNA versus AEW for Forbidden Door now? So Impact, AEW, Forbidden Door. I'd love to see that. I think it'd be great.
They should really just do it one show, whether it's called Forbidden Door or something else that's AEW, Impact, it can't be New Japan because if you want AAA involved.
Yeah, they got it. Tony Khan's got to put his foot down. Say, listen, enough of this. Enough of this. CMLL, what do you do exactly? What do you do? New Japan, come on.
Only the oldest wrestling promotion, I think, in the world, Steve.
What is that? Is the oldest restaurant in the world still like the best? No.
I don't know. I know the oldest restaurant in the world is.
Probably Google it. Hey Siri, what's the oldest restaurant in the world? St. Peter's Stiffskeller in so where is this? Within the walls of St. Peter's Abbey. That sounds very European.
Well,
dates back to 803 AD.
So I got a different result here. It's in Spain, in Madrid.
España. What's it called?
Sobrino de Potin.
When was that established?
This is the one that's been oldest continually open.
When was it established?
1725.
This one was established in 803. You're probably right, though. But
it hasn't been continually operating since then. That's the question.
Well, COVID hit a lot of people, man.
Outside of that.
Oh, man. This one's in Austria. Okay. The average meal costs $70. Maybe it is the best restaurant.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, my point's proven. I'm being proven wrong. Let's move on. Let's see here. Broceratop says the fake seizure from Danielson is peak heel. I hated him for 2 seconds. What's a line that a heel crossed for you guys?
Whoops.
Probably like MJF spilling that drink on that kid.
Oh yeah,
that ain't cool, man.
That ain't cool at all. That is not cool. Yeah, that comes to. I can't really think of. I'm sure there are a lot of things, but I can't.
Bully
think of
Ray taking a fan backstage and saying don't boo people or whatever he did.
Yeah,
that's not really. Yeah, he was just acting as a producer there.
Still, can't be doing that.
I mean, you could take a look at a lot of what Bully Ray did in ECW back in the day and be like, "Oh, you crossed the line, Bully."
Yeah.
Let's see here. David Matushek says, "Do you think that faking an injury during a wrestling match, such as shaking, feels tasteless or clever?" I'm fine with it. Like, as long as I know pretty quickly that it's a fakey fake, you know?
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Usually you can tell pretty quickly if something is real. Like, you can see the look on people's faces starting to freak out.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't see that tonight. Like, it was pretty quickly that Okada came over and was like, "Hey, guys, I got this Rainmaker."
Yeah.
James Henry says, "How does Punk lose the Owen Hart Cup thingy? I don't think there's any benefit to him winning, but having him lose also doesn't make sense because he's the cash cow." Yeah, he's not going to lose.
No, he's not.
That ain't going to happen.
All right, Wrestle Forever says Brian's on the scrum and his arm's in a cast brace thing.
Oh, I think that's legit.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, he was doing his day. Like, it was awkward. Like, you can tell, man.
It really was
awkward.
It really was.
Yeah. So anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us during this marathon AEW pay-per-view session.
As they always are, man. We got back-to-back All In and All Out weekends, too.
Oh,
they announced All Out officially today.
Geek.
I know.
Man. Yeah, we're going to have to talk about whether or not we're going to do the pre-shows on that one. Because holy shit.
Fair enough.
No hesitation from you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see about that. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. We're doing a show tomorrow.
Sure, yeah. I guess we should talk about SmackDown.
Oh, we gotta talk about SmackDown tomorrow.
I gotta watch it first.
All right, cool. Right on. Well, you go do that. Thanks for watching.
I gotta do that now. I'm gonna do it in the morning.
Okay, you gonna have some breakfast and watch some SmackDowns?
Maybe. Tomorrow's back day. I gotta do some back workout too.
During SmackDown?
Sometimes I do that. I'll go do a set. I'll watch a little bit of show. I'll go back out in the garage.
Okay.
Do some rows.
Cool, man. Whatever floats your boat, man.
Close grip, wide grip.
Can we get out of here, man? It's been forever.
Oh, sure, yeah. You asked a question. I answered your question.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Taking forever. It's your story.
Ask the